to the Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Deborah Abamins. Coming up, finance and tax analysts forecast Treasury bill oversubscription to continue through the end of 2026 as government scores ninth straight oversubscription in last auction. Also, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation set for bigger commercial role as Ghana targets energy security. Plus, economists at University of Ghana says Ghana's fiscal recovery built on sacrifices by creditors, pensioners, and bondholders. I'm Deborah Abamins, and we'll bring you details of the headlines and other stories for you shortly. Do stay with us. Now settle for the details. And investors oversubscribed government treasury bills by 8.841 billion cedis for ninth straight week as yields drop. A government treasury bills auction has been oversubscribed by the ninth consecutive time, recording a strong investor demand in its August 21, 2026 outing and amid decline in yield. The sustained oversubscription and fall in yield signal strong investor confidence in short-term government securities. This through Business News Desk report has more.
Investors offered a total of 14.269 billion cedis against government's initial target of 5.428 billion cedis. Government, however, accepted 5.854 billion cedis and rejected 8.414 billion cedis in bids across the three standard tenors. This translates to a subscription rate of 262.9% with an oversubscription of 8.84 billion cedis, representing 162.9% above target. The acceptance rate stood at 41.0% of total bids tendered, while accepted bids exceeded the initial target by 7.86%. The 91-day bill received offers totaling 3.124 billion cedis, with government accepting 2.403 billion cedis at a yield of 10.07%, down from 10.46% in the previous auction. For the 182-day bill, bids amounted to 1.204 billion cedis, while government took 766.21 million cedis at a yield of 12.08%, down from 12.27%. The longest tenor, the 364-day bill, received bids of 9.939 billion cedis, with government accepting 2.685 billion cedis at a yield of 11.59%, a sharp drop from 12.50% previously.
There was a three Business News Desk report on government treasury bills oversubscribed by 8.841 billion cedis for the ninth straight week as yields drop. And also, finance and tax analysts forecast treasury bill oversubscription to continue through end of 2026 as government scores ninth straight oversubscription in last auction. Meanwhile, continuous oversubscription of Ghana's treasury bills is expected to persist through the end of 2026 as investor confidence in government securities gradually strengthens. Finance and tax analyst Nelson Kujo Kabeji says the strong demand reflects growing confidence in government commitment to honoring its debt obligations.
This is not surprising at all. This clearly shows that investor confidence is gradually bouncing back to the market as a result of government commitment towards honoring its debt obligation. The oversubscription also will help deepen market liquidity because we expect a lot more people to express interest and confidence in government securities. And we also expect this trend to continue even to the end of the year 2026.
Oh, you heard the finance and tax analyst Nelson Kujo Kwabeji. Away from that, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation set for bigger commercial role as Ghana targets energy security. Ghana is moving to give the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, a stronger commercial role in the upstream petroleum sector as government seeks to boost energy security, attract exploration, investment, and cut reliance on expensive imported fuels. Now, the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition says GNPC is expected to take larger interest in petroleum projects and move closer to operatorship. And the strategy comes as Ghana's oil production faces pressure and competition for global exploration capital intensifies. Our government is also pursuing fiscal and regulatory reforms to make the country more competitive for investment. Gas commercialization remains central to the plan, with increased domestic gas use expected to reduce reliance on costly liquid fuels for thermal power generation and ease pressure on foreign exchange. The government is also reviewing legislation governing GNPC and the petroleum sector, with reforms aimed at improving efficiency, governance, and technological capacity. The success of the strategy will depend on whether GNPC can expand commercially or maintaining financial discipline and protecting the public interest. Let's do more stories. Economists at University of Ghana says Ghana's fiscal recovery built on sacrifices by creditors, pensioners, and bondholders. Our economist, Professor Godfred Boppin, says Ghana's improved fiscal position is largely the result of sacrifices made by domestic and Eurobond holders, pensioners, and other creditors during the country's debt restructuring. Speaking on Ghana's improving fiscal position, Professor Boppin said the contribution of creditors who accepted losses during the restructuring must be recognized. The following Three Business News Desk report has more.
Professor Godfred Bopkin says Ghana's debt restructuring created the fiscal space the country is enjoying today after domestic and external creditors accepted significant losses. He noted that the scale of the challenge is reflected in the original IMF-supported program, which identified a balance of payments financing gap of about $13.5 billion. The economist argues that Gold Board's domestic gold purchasing operations were relatively small at the time and therefore should not be credited for creating the fiscal breathing space. Professor Bopkin welcomes the reduction in Ghana's debt-to-GDP ratio and debt servicing cost, but warns that the gains could be lost through poor fiscal management. He recalls that Ghana's debt-to-GDP ratio also fell below 30% after the HIPC initiative and multilateral debt relief initiative, but the fiscal space was later exhausted, contributing to the country's return to an IMF program in 2029. Professor Bopkin is therefore calling for prudent borrowing, efficient spending, and investments in the sectors that can strengthen the economy's capacity to generate cash flows.
Well, that was a desk report on economist Professor Godfred Bopin at the University of Ghana, saying that Ghana's fiscal recovery is built on sacrifices by creditors, pensioners, and bondholders. That'll be all for the Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please check our website 3news.com. My name is Deborah Bamensa. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.